We've seen quite a few phones from Motorola so far this year, but nothing quite like this one. This is the Motorola Defy 2021, a rugged phone which should be able to take a lot of punishment and keep on ticking. But does it also offer a decent smartphone experience? I'm Will for GSM Arena, and let's find out in our full review. The Moto Defy doesn't look like your typical mid-range smartphone. Rather than a flashy or sleek design, it has a practical one with a rubber-like textured coating protecting the device. The perpendicular grooves do look kind of neat though, and to be honest, if you're already using a phone with a heavy case on it, you'd be used to how this feels in hand. Together with the flat edges, you have plenty of grip here. Overall, the phone is a bit on the chunky side, but it's manageable. It's no surprise that the Motorola Defy has IP68 rated dust and water resistance. On top of that, there's salt mist protection too. This phone is tough. It's rated to survive drops onto concrete at up to 1.8 meters. It can also handle extreme temperatures and Category 4 vibrations. This type of protection isn't necessary for everyone, but it could be useful if you're working a job out in the field or if you have an adventurous lifestyle. The screen is a 6.5-inch IPS LCD with a 720p resolution and a standard 60Hz refresh rate, all protected by Gorilla Glass Victus. Overall, this display is nothing special. The bezels are wide and the pixel density is rather low at around 270 ppi. The pixel response time isn't the best either. We notice some ghosting while swiping and scrolling. Blacks are pretty deep for an LCD, but colors aren't too accurate here. Even though you have multiple color profiles to choose from, they're all a bit off. And brightness is just okay. We measured a maximum of around 440 nits. There's a 3.5mm jack as well as a bottom-firing speaker for your audio. It isn't particularly loud, scoring average on our loudness charts, and the sound quality isn't what we would call rich.
I'm wide awake, but you're a nightmare. I can't escape, I'm seeing you everywhere.
You can wake up and unlock the phone with a rear-mounted fingerprint scanner. It's accurate and responsive, but the unlock animation is on the slower side. And for storage, you have just 64 gigs on board, but it is expandable via microSD. The interface of the Motorola Defy is actually an outdated Android 10 with some Moto features on top. Apparently, an update to Android 11 is in the works though. Maybe because of the older OS, you are missing a few features here compared to other Motorola phones, like a few of the shortcuts, specific charging routines, and connectivity through Moto's Ready 4 platform. But still, overall the interface is quite clean and stock feeling, and Moto's additions are easily accessible through the Moto app. Here you'll find personalization options and gesture shortcuts. There's what Moto calls Peak Display, which will light up the screen when you get a notification or move the phone. And there's also a programmable hardware button. It's a bit high up on the device to be convenient, but you can use it for a push-to-talk function or app shortcuts. Behind these features is a Snapdragon 662 chipset built on an 11nm process. It was introduced back in 2020 and is not a powerhouse by any means. In benchmarks, the Moto Defy sits towards the bottom of both the CPU and the GPU charts when compared to similarly priced phones. This phone isn't really meant for heavy gaming, but for light games and day-to-day tasks it'll get the job done. Powering the Moto Defy is a large 5000 mAh battery, and it does a great job. The phone scored an endurance rating of 129 hours in our battery life tests. It's not the fastest to charge though. With the bundled 20-watt adapter, we were able to charge the phone from 0 to 31% in half an hour, and a full charge took 2.5 hours. Moving on to the phone's camera setup. There's a 48-megapixel quad-Bayer main cam, a 2-megapixel macro camera, and a depth sensor. 12-megapixel photos from the main camera are quite decent, with nice resolved detail and well-controlled noise. Colors are a bit muted, but not too bad, and the auto HDR does a good job, so we suggest keeping it enabled at all times. Portrait mode works pretty well. It offers adequate subject separation, and the shots are good enough for social media. 2-megapixel close-up photos from the macro camera are decent, despite the small size and limited pixel count. There's enough detail and colors don't look half bad. Plus there is autofocus here, which makes capturing a sharp image a bit easier. Selfies from the 8-megapixel front-facing cam are okay. There's a good amount of detail and colors look nice. However, the fixed focal distance makes it tricky to get a photo to come out sharp, and dynamic range isn't stellar. In low light, the Motorola Defy struggles quite a bit. The main cam's shots are soft and often end up out of focus. Dynamic range is poor too, with blown out highlights. There is a night vision mode you can enable, and it helps a lot. It brightens up the photos and helps to fix both clipped highlights and crushed shadows. Plus, the night vision stills don't take that long to capture either. Videos can be captured with the main cam in up to 1080p resolution. Quality is mostly unimpressive. Colors are a lot more vibrant here than what you see on the still photos. Detail is on the lower side, and the dynamic range is limited, with both the highlights and the shadows. There is electronic stabilization available for the main cam, and it does a good job at smoothing out the shakes and bumps. We did notice some focus hunting introduced with the EIS though. So that's the Motorola Defy. You get that rugged and durable build, great battery life, a usable main camera, and a reliable chipset. However, in exchange for the durability, most of the other specs had to see a downgrade. For the same price, you can find phones with pretty nice features, and even some flagship killers. But if you're actually looking for a rugged device that won't break the bank and still offers an adequate smartphone experience, the Motorola Defy is worth recommending. Thanks for watching guys, stay safe and see you on the next one.